Can you hear me now? Yeah, that hopefully. Yes, maybe, we'll see. Yeah, I had my microphone muted for some reason, so you can hear me now? Okay, I unmuted, good. So for some reason, my camera got unplugged, which is why that was messed up. And how is the music? Music volume okay? You can hear me just fine? And there's like a 15-second delay or something, so yeah. Okay, so we are continuing to work on our Pomodoro timer, which currently is counting down from 25 minutes. We can pause it, we can keep going, and we can stop, which resets everything. So the few things left on our checklist is to keep track of the number of Pomodori done, and I apologize for any Italian speakers in the audience. I don't speak Italian very well, obviously, otherwise it wouldn't sound as bad as I do. And then we need to be able to modify the time options. And then I'm going to also throw in here refactor code to be better. Because right now, everything is in global scope. There's a bunch of stuff going on. Nothing is encapsulated. Everything is relying on other things. So going to be condensing it, most of it into a class. So then we just import Pomodoro from pomodoro.js and be done. So I guess right now, with my one chat viewer, Ragnar, do you have a preference? Do you want to work on the visuals so we can get our work, coffee, home up on the screen? Or do we want to add inputs for time? Or do we want to just refactor it right now and then worry about the rest later? Make the code pretty first. Okay. If there's anybody else in chat that has an opinion, be sure to let me know. And again, there's like a 15-ish second delay on when I say something and when it comes to you, so I'm going to wait a few seconds. And anyone who's wondering why I keep looking way over there, where's my camera? Way over there. It's because that's where my chat is. It's on my second window. Okay, so we want to make the code pretty. So then what I'm going to do, I don't know why main.js says it was changed. We're going to new folder, scripts. We're going to take main.js, we're going to throw it into scripts. Yes, I want to move it. Index. Our source is now scripts, main.js. We'll go ahead and save. We'll hit the start button, make sure that's still working. That is working just fine. Go ahead and stop that. All right, so now in our scripts, we're going to do a new file, pomodoro.js. And then basically I'm just going to take everything here that is not these event listeners, and we're going to refactor it all into, yeah, because most of this is going to be maybe I should have just renamed this to pomodoro.js and then moved everything else into main, or created a new main. So I'm going to grab that, come down here, we can export cycle type, then a main.js, cycle type from Pomodoro, and for some reason VS Code will take the file but won't add the file extension, and I have no idea why that is. That just irks me. Okay, so we're still working just fine. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our state, gonna copy it right now, comment that out, come over to pomodoro.js. And we're going to call this, wait, how many stars did I use? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. So this is our private members. So what I'm doing, shoot. Ah! Alright, you know what, screw it. Current countdown. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put this like that, because what I'm attempting to do here is, and of course that screws it all up. Okay, so I'm, instead of doing a standard class, and then we're going to take all of these lets and make them const. Okay, so normally what you would see is class Pomodoro constructor code goes here, but I don't like using the class syntax because as you can see, like just my constructor function, I'm already indented twice. If I create any functions for it or any static anything, it's all going to be indented. And so instead, we're going to make a class, or we're going to create a constructor function, and it's going to be, you're going to call this with new. So first, we're going to just check if new.target is undefined. Just make tab 0 spaces large. Yeah, we're gonna do that, Ragnar. Yeah, we're gonna do that. I think it's a new syntax error. MDN new keyword. So what we're gonna be doing here is pretty much what you had to do before classes were introduced, and this is how you had to do things prior. But now class is just a syntactic sugar over all of this, so it's gonna be good. Not new, I need new.target. That's what I'm looking for. That's a lot of freaking errors. Here we go. No, that's just... There it is, type error, yeah. So on new type error, must call Pomodoro with new keyword. Boom. Okay, so that is, if someone just does Pomodoro and calls it as a function without new Pomodoro, they're gonna get hit with this error. So that way we can do fun things. So we're taking all of this stuff that was in state, gonna copy it. Now we're gonna paste it all here. My mouse sometimes is a little hypersensitive. So what we're gonna do is this blank equals, and then this is where we are going to, yes, I really want to go the ES5 route, just because I am difficult like that. So the reason why I'm doing it this way is that symbols every time you call the symbol function, it returns a unique symbol value, as it says right here. It returns a new unique symbol value. And since I'm putting this in this file and I'm not exporting it, the only in this file where I have current countdown or current countdown truncated, etc., all of these declared, this is the only place where I can use these, and they will return the appropriate symbol for whatever I'm trying to do. And so in functions that are being declared in this file, I can, for example, call current timestamp, like this. It'll be this current timestamp in square brackets, because that way it is calling the symbol of current timestamp. And that way, even though you can say, you can do a console.dir to see everything that's in the Pomodoro function, but you won't be able to access it. It's just like when you do the class syntax and you do like the hashtag ref. Okay, so that's a private variable. Yeah, you can hack your way into getting them back from the outside, and you can hack your way through almost anything, but this at least lets people know, hey, this is something that you shouldn't be accessing from the outside. If you really want to, go for it, but at that point, just copy the file and make your own. So yes, with JavaScript, there is no actual way to be 100% safe, because of the fact that that it's all client side. Yeah, private members are not enumerable. Okay, so then I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I prefer ES6 or ES5 because I am a masochist like that. But current cycle, so we're just going to fill in current timestamp equals 0, countdown 0. So we're just setting all of the defaults when the function is first created. And we'll go back to main.js, put that right next to it. So we need main time, rest time, and long break. So we're just gonna be doing this. Boom, boom, boom. And just copy that, paste it in there. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Okay. It's fine. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm sure I could probably just do it like that. I am not a professional poly D, no. I am just a hobbyist who enjoys programming for fun. So if I were a professional working for a big company, my code would look a lot crappier. And would definitely be more suspect. All right, so we have our private member variables, and I'm sure that I could do something to prevent them from being enumerated, but that would require a lot more steps, and at that point I might as well just use a freaking class. But we're not going to use that right now. Let's see, what else do we need? Okay, so start time, toggle start button. I'm going to go ahead and grab this real quick. And so anything that is anything that is handling the UI is going to be outside of the Pomodoro class, because it's just holding its internal state. And then we are going to can go ahead and I would use object.define property to prevent enumeration, but again, that would require way more work than just saying class. But right now we're going to, I just lost my train of thought. We're going to create a event target. And so with this, we're going to have an encapsulated event emitter. So when something changes, the Pomodoro class will emit an event. And I just want to make sure that it is actually event target, right? Yeah. Add event listener, remove event listener. Yeah, so we're going to dispatch specific events to let the UI know that something needs to change. So currently, like the run timer, this stuff here, where we are setting the inner text of the nodes to make this count down, that's just going to be an event that is emitted every second, timer updated or something. Then we'll have later on, when we get to the UI improvements, to add, where was it? Oh, our work, coffee, home idea here, the main timer, rest timer, break timer, those are going to be UI elements. So when those change, it'll emit a cycle change event. So that way, whoever is listening to it, they'll have specific events that they can hook into in order to update the UI as necessary. But right now, I need to use some lip balm because I'm talking a lot. Because I hate React and it is dumb and should never be used for things that are super simple like this. React is using a nuclear weapon to kill a fly. I'm using a fly swatter, which is a specific tool designed for swatting flies. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is take this start timer. And using ChatGPT is also stupid, because ChatGPT lies to you more convincingly than a used car salesman. So yeah, using ChatGPT is a very bad idea when you know what you're doing, because then you just get frustrated because it's lying, and it's just, why would I ask ChatGPT JavaScript questions when I know how to use this search box in MDN? I know how JavaScript works. I know that there are specific objects and functions, etc., that are out there for doing the things I need. So, just a few minutes ago, when I was like, we're going to have an event target that emits events. I know in Node.js it's called event emitter, and server and client side, I was like, it is event target, right? So I searched for event target, and look at this, I found event target, which is exactly what I needed. So I'm like, okay, I know there's a thing to do what I need. How about I just search the docs? You know, read the freaking manual. It's honestly not that difficult for someone of my skill who knows what they're doing. And also, if you ask ChatGPT about specific React things, they'll probably tell you this is the answer from 2022 when things were different. It's just relying on LLMs makes you a bad developer because you lose the skills that you need in order to actually search the docs, in order to actually troubleshoot it yourself. You're relying on someone else to do the critical thinking for you, so when the hard stuff comes up, you're not as capable to handle it as well as you were before. So I will use LLMs for things like, hey, I have this idea, what steps do I need to take? And I'll be like, okay, here's this thing you don't know about, here are the steps. So and then from there, I'm like, okay, these are the steps I need to do. I know how to implement those steps. I just needed to know what those steps were because that was something I didn't know about. So asking it for general broad advice is fine, but once you're like, hey, code this thing for me, that's when, no, I'm a good developer because I read the docs. Anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. New event target. Okay. Yeah, and the constructor, I believe, doesn't take anything. Creates a new event target object instance. Excellent. So where was I? Okay, so we need to take the start timer and the run timer. So the first thing I'm going to do is just create a placeholder for the run timer because the start timer needs to do call the run timer, as you can see right here. So we're going to just here and normally when I do functions, as mentioned last time, you know, my functions are always declared arrow functions like this because I have a tendency to sometimes forget what names I've used in the past. So when you use function declaration style like this, like I could later on say const Pomodoro equals true, and it's not going to yell at me because I mean here it will. Oh wait, that's because I need to tell that to go away. But like I can override, because when you do a function like this, it's just like using the old var keyword. So 90% of the time when I write functions, I use const declared arrow function, so I can't accidentally reuse the same name later on. And it's not a big problem in smaller code bases, but once you start doing larger things or things that are very, very similar, you know, like I have my current countdown truncated, main timer, rest timer, long break, like all of these are similar enough in names, but I am using function here specifically because I know there's only going to be a few. And also when you use function, it doesn't screw with this keyword. Font size on what side? This one over here? Or on the, because I think this one might already, oh, that's normal size. Okay, is this a better font size for you, B1? Okay, so anyway, in order to not futz with this, we're using function declarations as normal. So we're going to do run timer and then start timer. Function run timer. Signature declarations can only use it. What? That's really weird. Okay. So we're going to do run timer and then start timer. And start timer, I believe both of them require new timestamp. because they are both being called with request animation frame. So this ref equals request animation frame run timer. And then we're going to come down here, object dot set prototype of Pomodoro dot prototype to an object that includes run timer and start timer. All right, so this way, anytime Pomodoro is called, the prototype includes these functions. And so you can do 1, you can do 5, you can do 8, and they're all on the prototype instead of on the object itself. And this was kind of what I was saying earlier as to why I do it this way as opposed to class. So all of my functions are right here, and they all left aligned. It's all very nice. I don't have like 18 indents because I have, you know, inner loops within functions, within classes, within declarations, and it just looks ugly. I like to do it this way because it keeps my code a lot more organized. And so that's the way that I do it, and that's why I do it that way. Okay. So we're just going to copy this, then that just moved up because I did the wrong click. Okay, so this, boom, boom, this, boom, boom. Well, I was just using that as a little bit of hyperbole, Ragnar. I know I shouldn't have loops 5 levels deep, but I'm an old man. This is the way I'm used to doing things, so this is how I'm going to do it. You can go ahead and fork the GitHub repo and implement a class yourself if you'd like. Let's go ahead and do that. So actually, now that I think about it, I'm wondering if just kind of thinking, because start timer is taking in a new timestamp because it is currently being called with request animation frame immediately. Okay, so that's still going to be the button. You do it functional nowadays. You have grapes with classes. Do you mean gripes? That's for entirely different reasons. I would love to hear your take on classes. And I mean, this is kind of functional. I'm creating a function that's doing things. I mean, if I really wanted to be super functional, instead of all of this, I could be like, hey, check this out. And then I would take all of my state and I would put it here. And then anything that's being returned would go there. And this would be very functional. So I'm encapsulating all of this in closure. And so the only thing that is being returned is what's here inside this return value. You know, we'll just make that a little bit more specific. And then I don't have to worry about this. I would just use the stuff like that. So this start time instead would be equals new timestamp. And then I would do it that way. This is more or less how you're building your plugin engine. Okay, so you want to keep doing it this way then? Because we got 22 minutes until my hour's up. And so let's see how far we can get. We'll do it this way instead. That's fine. Because I like doing that, and then we don't have to worry about setting prototypes and all that malarkey. Okay, so, and we don't have to worry about the new keyword either, which is great. So then, start timer. Just go back to here. And then we don't need to worry about the button because that'll be handled elsewhere. And then here's a really fun thing. Let's just const start. Request animation frame, start timer. And then, so that way our Pomodoro has a start function, which all it does is kicks off the start timer, which handles state management and which handles setting the new timestamp. Because that was the big problem that that I was thinking about before. I'm like, I don't want to have start timer be exposed because that's not something that I just need to request animation frame to get that new timestamp and then kick it off to the actual run function. And then instead of run timer, we'll just do function run. New timestamp. Oops. And then again, this won't be cancel animation frame, ref. Start, stop. And then so start timer is going to run is going to handle all of the other things. Start and stop are the only ones that are being exposed to the end user. And then actually I had the event target. So target equals new event target. Right. So we're going to do, boom. Is that better? REF was not defined in line 49, so now we moved it. And now this is, yeah, I mean, even if it was outside of this closure being called here, it would look for REF within the closure itself, even if it were declared up here. So either way works. But we'll just put it in here so that way that we know exactly where it is being taken care of. All right, so then our run function is going to take care of a lot of stuff. Actually, first off, what I want to do is yeah, you're not sure if it would actually work that way. That would require testing. Fair enough. But this one works just fine right now. So what we're going to do is Pomodoro So the first thing we're going to do is Pomodoro pom equals Pomodoro, and then pom.start, and we will see what happens. Because Pomodoro is start is request animation frame, start timer. Start timer has all of these that are being declared here. So we shall see if it actually works. Ah, yes. We're going to return the return value. Okay. And of course this. All right, let's try this one more time. Console. What? Just comment out everything except for our start function. Okay. Console, start. What have we started is true. Start timer. Oh, that's because I have all this stuff up here still causing problems. Okay. Huh, look at that. Yeah, so it still needs to be inside that function. So another thing we could do is have these be declared out here in the global scope, but it's global to this file only. That is unfortunate because at this point, when I do this, I mean, it's just a frickin' at this point, it's just the same as class syntax. Yeah, then it'll be a singleton in disguise. Okay, so now it's working that I put this start timer inside here. But I guess it's not much different than all these symbols and whatnot. See, Ragnar, this is all your fault. It's 46 minutes in, we haven't done diddly squat because you keep making me question myself. So what we're going to do is just go back. Back. All the way back. Oh, keep going back. Keep going, and stop. Okay. All right, so we're going all the way back to here. Okay, so still it has this, the start. All right, let's start uncommenting things here. Let's remove that. Okay. So again, I have all of this being, yep, start is not defined. Excellent. Alrighty. So the start timer needs a new timestamp. It needs to be called on Pomodoro. So I'm wondering if I should just do this instead of start timer being here. Start timer equals start timer. And then I still want the this request animation frame is request animation frame, this start timer. And then, so then start timer is actually going to be this run timer. And then I don't even need to expose start timer or run timer. Oh, right, I have start timer here. So we'll just do start timer. Okay, there we go. That works. And then we will do our main. Then just to make it easy, we're going to comment out freaking everything. Pom.start. Cannot set properties of undefined. Of course not. Line 30. Okay, so in order for this to actually work, so I still need it to be, so at this point I might as well just use a freaking class, right? Because trying to hide everything unless I put the unless I do like that. Cannot set properties undefined. That is because that's what I'm doing wrong. Oh my goodness. Okay, so when doing request animation frame, if you don't do this, run an anonymous function, it's going to crap out on you. Not gonna be doing any styling today, Paulie, but definitely next week. So we've only got about, my streams are supposed to be around an hour long, and we are 8 minutes to that hour mark. So we'll do styling next week. So if I'm wondering why my console.log new, because I'm doing start, which is calling start timer, which is doing all of this, and then doing run timer, and so run timer should be doing that. Let's just go ahead and throw that in. New start, no console messages whatsoever. Okay, so something is preventing. Just do a refresh on the page. Yeah, nothing's coming up to the console, so something's extremely broken at this point. So I'm creating a Pomodoro and I'm hitting start. Create a new Pomodoro, so this log should hit, but it's not. And it's practically it's importing. And I'm not doing anything different. This is the kind of behind the scenes stuff you don't get with structured YouTube videos when people are just completely stumped as to why things are not working. Because when calling the Pomodoro function, I should have this console log. You know, let's just go ahead and get rid of the start. We're just calling Pomodoro. One message. Okay, that one worked. So now if we do the start, so that's being done. Okay, so that's working. Start timer. So this, for some reason, isn't working right. Even though it is part of... That's a bummer. Well, now I am confuzzled. Maybe if I just get rid of that. If I do start timer there, then we'll do a refresh over here. Start timer. Just see if okay, so it has a number. Request animation frame is working. It's just that this .start timer is not being hit properly for some reason. What if that would probably wait, where am I? Okay. Because now that I have it inside of a function, I need to actually call the function. Okay, this start timer is all right. Okay, So that was, I forgot to call the function. That was really silly of me, but all right, so start timer is working. And so just like anything that needs to be private, create a symbol for it, throw it in the constructor. Everything else is just external functions to make, in my opinion, the code more easily read, because all functions are separate and not nested deep. So our constructor is just setting up the base defaults, I guess. So I don't need start timer and I don't need run timer. So right now, the only thing that needs to be set on the prototype is start, because that's the only thing that I want exposed right now. I'm going to definitely do add event listener for the time update. So we can take care of that. There will be a cycle update where it tells me what the new cycle is. So we're gonna go ahead and add this. Add events. Time update, cycle update. I guess that just doesn't need to be out there. Okay, so that is all functioning mostly as it should be. So we can get rid of this new timestamp, log. And again, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier at the beginning. I was having this function lowercase, but also that. And so it was saying start timer has already been declared. So I'm trying to overwrite that with something that has already been declared. That's why I always prefer to do my functions using arrow functions, so that way it's const if I accidentally try to reuse the same name, like I did already here, even though it's a small file. Then we are just going to const run timer equals symbol run timer, and then we need to change this to capital R. This run timer equals run timer. So that gets rid of the error that we're getting saying that run timer is not declared. So start is part of the prototype, which is good. Start timer and run timer are just going to be doing their thing and is not going to be exposed to the end user. Obviously, you can enumerate through things and call them directly, but all you have to do is hit start. And I guess I should probably go ahead and do the stop. Cancel animation frame. Actually, it's not even. Cancel animation frame, this.raf. Stop. All right. I mean, another thing I could have done for this kind of stuff here, instead of doing, object.set prototype of, I could actually have done Pomodoro.prototype.start, and then this is the exact start equals function. So this is the exact same thing as right down here, but instead of having to do class name dot prototype dot function name all the time, that's why I just declare them as functions and then I add them to the prototype in one step here. So I'm only writing Pomodoro.prototype once and the functions are all right there. That was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. Ragnar, I blame you. So we've got the state is all taken care of. We're going to need to do that. The run timer needs to be updated yet. Check cycle. Yeah, we're just going to uncomment all of this. Imagine having to do that with a lot more code added. Good point. So yes, definitely a good idea to take care of all of this now. So we have this state done, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. The DOM nodes are going to stay. Did I add the timer stuff? Yes, okay. Actually, you know what we're going to do? So main timer in seconds. We're going to go ahead and start this right away. All right, 25 minutes times 60 seconds. For the rest, 5 times 60. And the long break, what do we have? 10 by 60. So what this is doing is we're setting the defaults. And then we're going to set main timer equals minutes times 60. So we are going to expose some functions to set each and every one of these. Set main, set rest, and then set break. Set main timer, set rest timer, set break timer. All right, so that way, the end user, so it defaults to main timer of 25 minutes, rest time 5 minutes, and long break in 10 minutes. Click, come on. Okay, that looks much better. But you can use any of these to override that. Excuse me. So then when we hit start, not only are we going to request animation frame, all of that. Sorry, I just got a text message, need to check that. We're going to take all of this. No, that's not right. That's already taken care of. What am I thinking? Whoops, went too far. Yeah, that's already taken care of in the start timer. So request animation frame, start timer, also timestamp, 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 timestamp. Okay, gotta remember to do that. Although now it makes me wonder, can I get away with doing it just like this? Pom.start. Okay, so no, I cannot. Boom, okay. Huh, I totally forgot to do that. So maybe? All right, let's try that one more time. Yeah. It needs to be there. Okay, so that is working. Somewhere I have a console log. Okay. So then they hit the start. We can request animation frame start timer, which is going to set the defaults. It's going to kick off the run timer, which is going to take care of the actual logic of setting everything. And then what we're going to do is, obviously next time, because we're already getting quite over time, when the seconds remaining change, it's going to emit the time update event, which then our main.js will listen to, because right now in our run timer, we are updating the DOM inside that function, and so it's requiring us to know the DOM nodes to update. So instead, it's going to emit the time update event with an array of two numbers. The first number being, or I guess two strings. First number being that, second number being that. So then you can do whatever you need to with it. With it outside the Pomodoro timer, because this Pomodoro should not give a flying rat's behind about the UI. It does not care. All it does is keep track of the current time. All right. Do we have any other questions before, excuse me, before I cough to death? Any other questions or anything before we sign off and such? All right, just wait another few seconds because of lag. And it looks like the answer is no. So we're going to go ahead and sign off for now. And next week, do I plan on doing unit end-to-end testing on that? No, because I don't know how. I've never done testing before. So maybe you can send me a link so I can learn how to do that? Yes, no, maybe? I know that Just is a popular testing framework. So I guess I should just read the docs because, you know, I'm saying read the docs. So I should read the docs on my tester framework thingy. All right, well then I will see all y'all next time. Have a good week.